Well, good day to you. It is December the 1st. That is right. You heard me correctly. It is already December here in 2024. We're almost on our way to 2025, aren't we? But wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this video, I hope you're having a wonderful day and staying warm. My name is Gary Willing, and as always, I want to welcome you to Search for Signs. And as I always like to do, I just like to point out to those people who perhaps haven't heard this before and are wanting to know more about Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom, that if you want to know more about Maitreya, want to know more about the priorities of the teacher, if you want to see if there's any truth to this information, might I recommend checking out some of the websites that I provided links for in the description portion of these videos. Each and every one of those websites give you really good background information about what I talk about here, but the two best are at the top. The Share International site, you can get the best background information there than you can anywhere else. If you don't perhaps want to read and you just want to listen to another video about Maitreya, might I suggest checking out the second link, which is a YouTube channel where there's an hour-long video of the late Benjamin Creme talking about this information. I think you can get the best sense of whether this is true for you by listening to it from him. So hopefully you'll take advantage of it. All the information on every one of those websites is free. It only costs you just a little bit of time. Now you want to come back and join the discussion. Of course, let me know what you think. Post a comment. You can ask me a question by posting your question in the comment section, and then I'll try to answer it in the next video, or you can email me that question to searchforsigns@mail.com. All right, now I get comments all the time. Maybe not a lot of comments compared to other YouTubers, but I get a lot of comments. And for the most part, they say what they say, right? Whether they agree with what I have to say or not or whatever. And I've had some people say some nasty things about me, Maitreya, Benjamin Creme, and they never get under my skin. But what does get under my skin is a comment like this. And there's a reason why it does. I wish I could explain it really well and articulate it really well, but it drives me crazy because they use the Bible to justify their complacency. We're all complacent. I'm complacent, right? So I'm not saying I'm faultless when it comes to this, but I don't use the Bible to justify my complacency. I just happen to know and be honest with myself and say, yeah, Gary, you're complacent from time to time. But I don't use the Bible or what I think that the Bible says to justify that I don't have to do anything, right? The problems of the world are real but solvable according to Maitreya. Man must just act and implement his will. One of the major problems is the environment. And there are a lot of people that think that there isn't a problem, so that they shouldn't have to do anything. Well, that's complacency. And there's other people who maybe see the problem, but then misinterpret the scriptures in their Bible and say, and then justify to themselves that they don't have to do anything about it because it says somewhere in the Bible that they don't have to do anything about it. So, what was the comment that got under my skin? Don't worry about the earth and its resources running out. The Bible tells us there will be a new heaven and a new earth. And then I think you said something. Oh yeah, you said according to the scriptures, we don't have to save this planet. That was the one that really got under my skin. So it's basically the same comment. It says, according to the scriptures, we don't have to save this planet. There will be a new heaven and a new earth. So my question back to this person, if you're listening to this, John, where in the Bible does it say that we don't have to save the planet? Where does it say, don't save the planet, not a good idea, or you don't have to save the planet? Where does it say that? Now, this new earth that is written in the Bible, or the new Jerusalem that is also referred to in the Bible, is not about a city in Israel, it's about the whole world. This new earth that's written in the Bible is not about God coming and remaking the earth, it's about the masters showing us how to do it ourselves. We created the problem. We can solve the problem. I find it particularly piquant that I live in a country that is so divided. And one of the divided sides, the right, says that politically, economically, we should all be responsible for what we do. Right? And that the state or the government should never help you out because you put yourself in that problem. Then they turn around and they have a religious belief that they can do whatever they want to do, and with impunity, all they have to do is ask for forgiveness, and they don't have to take responsibility for anything. I find it particularly maddening to think that there are people that think that. But anyway, and especially when they go around telling everybody else that that's the truth. But anyway, we have to save the earth. So for everybody else that doesn't believe what this person believes, we have to save the earth. We have to save our planet. Our so-called world leaders are not going to do it. They're not going to initiate the program to save our planet. We have to put political pressure on them to do it, and we're not putting enough pressure on them to do it because we don't have a voice. We haven't streamlined our voice into one voice yet. You got people that are talking about climate change. People are talking about this. People are talking about that. And so it's so diluted that there's nothing that's being really, there's no resounding, consensus on what to say. Eventually, Maitreya will be the voice for the people. He will bring the people together. He will galvanize humanity to be a political force that even the most selfish, corrupt leaders that we could think of would not be able to withstand the power of the people. That's his job. That's what he's going to do. Right now, we're all kind of we see the problem, but we don't know exactly what to do to solve the problem. Maitreya will articulate it, and in his articulation of the problem, and the only way that Maitreya can articulate it, it will resound within the hearts of humanity and galvanize humanity to do something about it, really. But in the meantime, we're stuck with the problem that we have. Now, there will be people that will think what this person thinks, but they're wrong. I hate to say it like that, but you're wrong. You're misinterpreting your own scriptures in that way. But it's complacency. Maitreya says that selfishness is the root of all evil, not money. It's how selfish you are with money, really. So selfishness is the root of it. But selfishness causes all manners of ills. Literally, our illnesses of our own bodies are caused by our selfishness. Maitreya says he comes to rid the world of the crime of separation. He affirms that as his purpose. So the crime of separation is that it creates fear within us, which creates greed. Fear within us, which creates bigotry and hatred, violence, and those kind of things. But it also creates complacency, because we don't think that what we do can help, or we don't think that we have to do anything. So we're all complacent. It's the problem. It's causing the problems and the ills of the world. And I'm just as guilty of it as you, John, but what I'm not guilty of is using the Bible to justify why I'm complacent. So anyway, hopefully that helps. All right, now on to the next comment. But like I said, I do encourage comments, and I don't like to say what I say about comments. I usually just leave them up. But when somebody says something like that, I have to say something. So Yeshua is my savior. Thanks, Gary. How you describe Maitreya is exactly how Kathleen Keating described him around 6'3". She said he was in an Armani suit, was very handsome and Middle Eastern looking on the Art Bell show. P.S. I would love to do another interview with you. And I reached out to you and said, yeah, I would love to do another interview with you as well. Now, you asked me if I knew who she was, Kathleen Keating, and I said yes. And when I said yes, I was thinking of somebody else. So I have tried to find her, and I don't know if it's this person or not, but if you have the Art Bell interview or a link to it or something like that, I would love to listen to it. But when I said I knew who she was, I was thinking it was somebody else. But anyway, but thank you very much for the comment. Let's see. Wild Humans 8116. One more question about Bigfoot, Gary. Okay, well, ask a person who knows nothing about Bigfoot. The Dalai Lama once said the Yeti's telepathic abilities suggest a deeper level of consciousness. Where did he say that? That's the question I have to say before I answer your question. And if you could, Wild Humans, email me to searchforsigns@mail.com the link where the Dalai Lama said that. I would love to hear him say that. And yes, I have a shirt that says, believe in yourself even when no one else does, and it's Bigfoot. I thought it was kind of funny. I don't personally believe in Bigfoot, but that's just me. You clearly do, and that's your right. But your question is, will or do Maitreya's teachings emphasize the importance of respecting and honoring these beings as wise, ancient teachers that can guide humanity toward a more harmonious relationship with nature? The simplest answer to your question is no. So there are no teachings of Maitreya that talk about Yetis or Bigfoot or whatever as wise, ancient teachers and those kind of things. So does that answer your question? I know there's an awkward silence on my end for saying that. Wild humans, if you're listening to this, please don't get offended that I said I don't believe in Bigfoot. I am sure there are people, in fact, I know there are people that listen to my videos. Probably the majority of the people that listen to my videos think I'm totally nuts for what I have to say. So you just keep believing what you believe, but I'm not the right person to ask a question about that. But anyway, thank you very much for listening, and thanks for asking the question nonetheless. Lastly, there was a question from Anthony, who I have to apologize to you personally, Anthony, because I said that I was going to answer your question in the next video, and I spaced and I skipped it, and I think I recorded a video, maybe even two. So I'm going to answer your question about prayer. But I wanted to kind of focus in on this image that I have. I don't normally have this image as a background in my videos. I've done it before, but it was written by Maitreya, and it was put on the missing persons board in Asia when there was that tsunami that hit some years ago. And of course, people were trying to find their loved ones. They couldn't find them. It was such a tragic and sad situation. They would put pictures of their loved ones. Have you seen this person? And one of the things that Maitreya did to help the people was he drew this and he wrote this and put it on the missing persons board. But it says, Maitreya, be at peace and remember to pray. So it is important. Prayer is important. And as Maitreya says, remember to pray. So, but what was your question about prayer that I didn't answer that I need to answer, Anthony, or try to answer? Hi, Gary. Can you spend some time on the nature and purpose of prayer as it is commonly understood in general, and the prayer for the New Age as given by Maitreya in particular? How do these prayers differ, and how are they similar? I don't even know how similar they are compared to how most people pray. Where they would differ is in the purpose of the prayer, I guess would be the answer to that question. Does that make sense? So when people pray, obviously they pray to whatever God they believe in. If they're Muslim, they're not praying to Buddha. If they're Christian, they're not praying to Krishna. But in either way, people pray to whatever creator they aspire to or are devoted to. And it's really a measure of devotion. I don't think the masters in and of themselves pray to anything because they already know, they're one with the universe. So who is there to pray to but themselves, right? Which is what the prayer of the New Age is all about. It's about realizing yourself as the self, which is the truth of who we and what we are. Now, most people, when they pray, let's go back to the previous person Anthony, who was talking about not having to do anything about the environment, right? Well, he's not alone in that type of thinking. People pray all the time. They'll see a homeless person. Oh, dear Lord, help that person out. Please help them, as they keep driving. They never think that maybe they are the angel that could help them. It doesn't have to be a lot. They don't have to totally disrupt their life, but they can help them. And as Maitreya said, a little bit goes a long way, right? And so, but we all do that. We all want somebody else to fix the problem, right? So, my daughter loves to clog the toilet in her bathroom and then just go sit on the couch and not even tell me and then expect me to go unclog it, right? It's the same thing, right? So, but we're all guilty of it. And when you pray like that, I don't think anything happens. If you pray for the end of hunger, that means nothing, really, ultimately. But if you prayed to find a group of people that are marching against hunger or for justice, and how do I find that? Maybe the answer would come along if you keep searching for it, right? Maybe. So to me, I have to, in my mind, I know for myself, I'm always tweaking my prayers to make them, I guess, less about me and more about others, right? To be honest. But how do I help in that way and that kind of thing? But we still have to do it ourselves. So the other problem with prayer would be, an example would be this. I'm driving down the street. I get a flat tire. It's cold and it's rainy and it's at night and there's no one around. And I pray to God for somebody to help, or I pray to God to fix my tire, not for somebody to help, but to fix my tire, because I don't know how to fix the tire myself, right? I don't take the time to look it up on YouTube. I'm just praying to God, right? And then here comes a car. Person gets out. They come to my car and they say, oh my gosh, it looks like you really need some help. I see you have a flat tire. Would you like for me to help you change the tire? Oh, no. Don't worry about it. God's going to help me. I prayed to God. God's going to help me fix the tire. You sure? Because I can fix it. No. This is what we do. We do it all the time, right? And then they eventually get tired of arguing to try to help, and they get in their car and they drive away, right? Then somebody else comes by, right? Asks the same thing. I see you're in trouble. Can I help you? I'd love to help you. Nope. God's going to help me. Well, maybe those people were there to help you. Maybe God put them in there to help you or something like that, right? The other thing would be, you see somebody distressed, you know how to fix a tire, and as you're driving by, you have all the time in the world to do it. You have the capacity to do it. It's safe for you to do it. And you go, dear Lord, would somebody please help that person? Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this about you, Anthony. This is just what we all do in our own way. We put it off on somebody else because we're complacent, which is exactly kind of going back to the same thing before. Now, if it's not a prayer that's complacent, well, then I think it's very effective. And it can help connect you with the divine in a way, in an aspirational way. Invocation, which is different than prayer, could be viewed by somebody who doesn't know as a prayer, is different because it's aligning that person with the what it's saying to help bring about a result. And in a way, the prayer for the New Age is not a prayer, but more of an invocation, I think. Because it's bringing about the awareness of the self, right? Which is really what it's about. But you would have to take the core principles of the core teachings of Maitreya, honesty of mind, sincerity of spirit, and detachment, and use it along with the prayer of the New Age to really, I think, get the best way. It's the best way of realizing yourself as the self. Maitreya will eventually teach humanity the three ways to become self-realized: honesty of mind, sincerity of spirit, and detachment. The practices that you have to do on a moment-to-moment basis in order to become self-realized. But then he will also teach humanity that prayer to help focus us on who and what we really are. So it's like two wheels on the same cart, I guess. But the prayer of the New Age that he's asking about, it goes like this for those who don't know. I am the creator of the universe. I am the father and mother of the universe. Everything came from me. Everything shall return to me. Mind, spirit, and body are my temples for the self to realize in them my supreme being and becoming. Now, the practices that we need to put into practice, which is I think you would be better served by focusing on just those three. If you had to choose between one or the other, I always say it like that. It's better to do both, but if you had to choose between one or the other, the practices will get you to become self-realized if you're practicing them. So like, for instance, honesty of mind is when you think what you think aligns with what you say and what you do. Where in reality, all of us think one thing, say something else, and do something entirely different. That's the problem. It's a level of dishonesty, a level of lack of integrity, for instance. And it's very hard to see examples of honesty of mind because most of us don't have honesty of mind. when we see the masters, it will be very easy to see fine examples of honesty of mind because they know nothing but honesty of mind. They have no hidden agenda. They have no ulterior motives or anything like this. What they're thinking and what they're saying and what they're doing line up perfectly. But that is the first practice that we have to practice in order to realize ourselves as the self. The second is sincerity of spirit. Maitreya puts it like this in two ways. He said, it's like having a heart-to-heart conversation with a loved one where you lose all sense of time, lose all sense of your problems, and you're just there having a conversation with someone that you love, right? And you're talking to them and you're like, oh my gosh, 8 hours just passed or whatever like that, right? Well, that's an example of sincerity of spirit. He also put it like you're sitting on a beach and you're just watching the waves crash on the shore and you're just kind of there witnessing all of it. You forget about your bank account, you forget about your job, you forget about the problem you have with your kids or whatever like that, and you're just kind of there. That's an example of sincerity of spirit. And if I might add, I think being creative, playing music if you're a musician, painting or sculpting if you're an artist or whatever, writing if you're a writer, you get the same experience. But you can get the same experience from reading a book or that you love and you're just engrossed in the pages of the book, or if you're listening to your favorite song, you can have that same experience, because I'm sure you've had experiences where you're listening to music and you lose all track of time, like you're driving down the street or down a highway on a long trip, and you're alone in the car and you come across this tune in your playlist and you just keep playing it over and over and over again because you just love it. And your trip seems to be cut in half in terms of the time. Well, that might be an example of sincerity of spirit too, Or if you're in a museum and you just come across a painting that you love and you just stand in front of it and just enraptured by the colors and the design and the shape of it or whatever, you could have the same experience. Somebody painted it, experienced, sincerity of spirit when they lost sense of their own personal self and painted the painting, right? But you could have the same experience when you just look at the painting. So anyway, hopefully that helps. But that prayer that you're referred to, when he says, I am the creator of the universe, he's not saying he's better than Jesus. It's not blasphemous to say that. Jesus said it in his own way. I and my Father are one and the same. He was talking about the self. He was not talking about some man sitting in the sky that no one else can have any kind of connection to but through him. He wasn't saying it like that. So, Maitreya gave out that prayer. I am the creator of the universe, right? I say it all the time. I am the creator of the universe. I am the father and mother of the universe. But guess what? You can say that too. A Christian can say it too and still be a Christian, believe it or not. The most uneducated person on this planet could say, I am the creator of the universe. I am the father and mother of the universe. And it would be true. Because it is true. The essence of who we are as a self is what created all of life and all of the universe. We share that divinity. No matter where we go in all of cosmos, that divinity is all around us. It's what Paul meant when he wrote, the one in whom we live and move and have our being. He's talking about the self. So, but anyway, to carry on with, to go on with that prayer. I am the creator of the universe. I am the father and mother of the universe. Everything came from me. So when you see those around you that disturb you, or you are troubled about the problems of the world, or you see the violence in the world, that all of those things that are uncomfortable to you, that you see as problems of the world, are coming from you in a very real sense. And then when you see those things, especially when you see it in others, that you see the problems in other people, right? It's like you love them in a way that you can't love them. Love thy neighbor as thyself, as it says in the Bible, right? So everything came from me. Everything shall return to me. At some point in the very, very distant future, this whole universe that's been manifested will go back into nothingness. It's the divine breath. And then it will be nothingness for eons upon eons upon eons and then expand out again. And according to the masters, this has been going on for a very, 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 very long time. So the creation of the universe will eventually demanifest, and it will manifest again, and then it will demanifest. So everything that's created will eventually come back into you. And then he says, everything shall return to me. Mind, spirit, and body, which is what we really identify with. We identify with those as being us. Those aren't us. So in that prayer, it's clarifying the difference and the distinction between who and what you think you are and who and what you really are, right? Mind, spirit, and body are my temples. That's all they are. For the self, which is who you are, to realize in them my supreme being and becoming. So again, the prayer goes, I am the creator of the universe. I am the father and mother of the universe. Everything came from me. Everything shall return to me. Mind, spirit, and body are my temples for the self to realize in them my supreme being and becoming. I love you guys. Thank you very much for the questions and the comments. You guys have a great day, and I look forward to putting up videos in the very near future. Have a wonderful day. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.